Today, police officers have gained a negative profile through the media, which portrays them as being negative, abusive, and untrustworthy. Currently, there have been a number of cases where police officers have been put on trial for abuse and murders of citizens. Not only are citizens being harmed by police officers, but police officers are also being abused by the citizens that they have vowed to protect. A lot of what occurs during a police officer's duties on hours goes unrecorded, which leaves us with a lot of unanswered questions as to why they acted the way they did and how a death could have occurred. Police are meant to be as safe as possible while on duty, and they are also there to protect citizens. That is why I believe police officers should be established with policies that require them to have body cameras while on duty. This will establish clarity of why they acted the way that they did in the situations that they are in. Today I will talk about how police brutality is a problem in America, and also how police are being treated unfairly and how body cameras are a valuable tool to help combat these problems. Found on 538.com, a recent study out of Bowling Green State University, reported by the Wall Street Journal, identified 664 incidents from 2005 to 2011 in which police officers were arrested for having pulled, pointed, held, or fired a gun and threatened someone with a gun. These incidents resulted in 98 deaths, and excessive force by an officer was the #1 accusation by citizens during those years. Also found on quietmike.org is a general statistical distribution chart of abuse on Americans by police. Found at 56.9% were cases involving physical use of force, including first strikes, throws, chokeholds, baton strikes, and other physical attacks. There are several cases in today's media regarding police brutality. A couple of these are the Michael Brown case and the Freddie Gray case. Both of these cases resulted in death. The men did die by force of police. There's unanswered questions as to why the deaths occurred. In the Michael Brown case, the officer was set free of any kind of charges, and in the Freddie Gray case, it is still under investigation. The problem with these cases is that there is no actual recording of what took place. There are written accounts by witnesses and by the officers themselves, but there is no actual witness of a recording. That is why, if the officers were equipped with the body camera, there would be evidence that was clear as to why the officers acted the way that they did. Along with police brutality being a factor as to why police officers should be equipped with body cameras, there's also the safety of the officers themselves while working with citizens. According to cnsnews.com, since January 1st of this year, there have been 38 police officers who have been killed in the line of duty. The last death reported was on April 20th, 2015, which means that since the beginning of this year, every 3.5 days an officer has died. And according to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, in the year 2014, there were 117 officers' deaths. Police agencies should establish a policy that every on-duty officer is required to wear a body camera. This will minimize killings of police officers and citizens. Found on theatlantic.com is the cost of the body cameras, the 3 companies that make them, and how they would be used by the officers. The body cameras would be worn on the officer's shoulder area. The officers push the record button when necessary, and the information is recorded and cannot be erased by the officer. found on Slate.com reads, "The central study in the effectiveness of body cameras comes from an experiment in Rialto, California. The results were dramatic. After the wholesale adoption of the body cameras, complaints against officers dropped 88%, and use of force reports fell by 60%. In a randomly assigned pilot project in Mesa, Arizona, 75% fewer use of force complaints were filed against officers who wore the cameras than against those who did not." This is actual proof that they do work. And this is recorded evidence that is neutral, that is fair for the officer and for the citizen. Video evidence does provide us with the truth. Body cameras are a valuable resource for the officer on duty and for the citizen that they are protecting. Officers and citizens are worth the change of making body cameras a priority for the officer to use while on duty.